All right, welcome everyone. So I'm an indie game dev from Quebec, and I've been working on a game where it's built in MonoGame. And as I build my game engine, I've been splitting the code off into separate libraries over time. So my game is pretty simple. It's a sort of obstacle course type of game where you're trying to cross and go to a different to keep progressing forward. So it's a very simple game, but since I'm building the engine, it's you're like building tools at the same time. So one of those tools is my shape library. But first, how do I do like where did I come from? Like so, before being able to draw shapes, I learned about this technique, I believe, from this Valve paper, where they show the concept of the sign distance field. So a sign distance field is like a math formula that allows you to know how far you are from the edge of a shape. And then from there, you're able to have conditions to like draw if you're on the edge or inside or outside. So it's very simple. For example, the circle is just how far you are from the point to the radius. So an example here is like since you have the distance to the shape edge, then you're able to like grow the shape or you can round it because the lines further from the edge would be rounded since you're getting the shortest distance to an edge. So when I discovered that, I tried to implement it into MonoGame. And so that's how I got this library. So before doing this, I was drawing the old way, where if you read the forums, you have usually a pixel that is 1 by 1, and then you stretch it in order to get various shapes using the MonoGame sprite batch. I believe this is the technique that's still used in MonoGame Extended, and it does really good shapes, but it's not smooth the same way that an SDF shape would be. Also, this talk is an extension to another talk I gave a while ago that I called Weekend Projects. I wrote the write-up here. So a lot of what I'm doing is with a weekend project mindset, where you work on very small projects, and then once you have your proof of concept, then sometimes the project, then you're done, or sometimes you want to grow it. So this is one of the projects that I decided to grow. So then now I can show you how I import this and then show the API at the same time. Create a new my game.
So in this, Jan, you're actually just creating a brand new MonoGame project from scratch and then importing the whole library.
Yeah, perfect. Just do a quick .NET restore. All right. Oh yeah, I since I'm using net9, I'll just update this right here.
I see, really pushing the boundaries and propping up your project on net9, not net8 like on MonoGame.
Yeah, and I actually pushed a version a bit before this. The simple way is like you just go on NuGet, and then you can copy this package reference, and then paste it right in here. So this is the latest and greatest bleeding edge code. And then from here, you can copy the sprite batch, make a shape batch instead. I'll just call it SB. Also, I forgot how to code.
Coding on stream is hard.
Yeah, I'm rusty too. All right. Shape. So the shape bash is very similar to the sprite bash. The whole API design is made to be similar. Graphics device. and then I give it a content so that it can load the shader. All right. And then to draw a shape, so for now it's just the cornflower blue. And then drawing a shape is just a matter of starting it. So shape bash begin, and then so it should be pretty familiar to MonoGame devs. And then if you want to draw, for example, or fill circle, I'll put it at 100, radius of 50, and the color can be white. So for this library, I have a bit of vocabulary. So the shapes have usually for each shape 3 functions or 3 words. One of it is called fill. So the fill is just a circle with no. Oh yeah, MonoGame orange. Do you have that? Yeah. So the fill is just a shape, no border. But then you also have access to border. So this is very similar, but instead of drawing a filled shape, it draws only the border. And then you can give it a thickness. So for example, I'll give it 10. Oh, no, I should probably move it. 200, that should work. So it's really fast, this library, to create, get a game project started, and then you don't need any sprites, just draw your shapes right away. And then I guess you can actually pair this with, for example, my tweening library to get a basic animations or like interpolation. But anyway, so and then also you have, so the fill is only the fill, border is only the border, but you can also do it together. For example, draw a circle. So this combines both together. So the API is generally like this. You give it the position and then various shape information. For example, a circle needs a radius. And then you have access to the fill color or the border color. And then recently I created a gradient. So you're able to also have, instead of a single flat color, you can have gradients. So that makes it look a lot better. And here I'll just do a simple, I'll keep the MonoGame orange, and then I'll give it a white border.
I think I need to send you the SVG parser that I was working on.
SVG. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
I was working on like
Oh yeah. Oops.
more like the old school way, but it's the thing that was in my head that I'd been playing around with is very much, yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
Love
So
it,
this is only the circle. There's a lot of shapes in here. Oh, they put it in. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I have access to circles, rectangles, triangles, hexagons, I believe. Arcs.
But
Oh
do you
yeah,
have
arcs.
parallelograms?
Do I? No, I not yet.
there's a quick PR request for you. Parallelograms.
Yeah. Here's one that I added recently, because this is getting used either already or soon by GUM, the UI library. And one thing that was requested was arcs, which I'm surprised I didn't add them before. Let's do 3.
We always get caught up by the obvious of like, oh, of course, it's obvious.
Yeah.
I should have done that one.
Angle. Oh yeah, this is in. So let's start with 0 all the way to pi. Oh, did I not import it? That's from system, if I remember. Yeah. Let's do 2. Did I? Oh yeah, and there's all. So this is an arc, so it's pretty much a circle. So it takes the same sort of parameters, and then did I right angle 1? Oh, okay, right. Radius 1. Okay, and since an arc is like a line pretty much, you have, and it's like rounded. I'll do like 20F, you'll see after. Then I need the color. MonoGame orange. Nice. So you see there's a radius for the shape, and then there's also a radius for the inner line, kind of.
That's cool.
So, yeah. So this can be used for loading animations or anything. I'll do like a fill line just to show how it's similar.
This would be a really good way of doing like progress bars and all those kinds of things, isn't it? It's really good.
Well,
and the shapes are like, it's pretty much vector, kind of.
Yeah.
right.
So you
Well,
have
it's a UI. It's basically good for a UI library.
yeah,
Essentially.
but I think I'm gonna build a game using that for like the art. Since now I have gradients, you can make some really nice looking art. Where was I going?
Did you say, John, you've got an editor you've created using
Yeah.
library, which showcases a lot of these features?
Color. I'm using fill because it's simpler. Instead of having 2 colors, I just need to set up one. So yeah, this makes some really smooth looking shapes. I can show really fast my editor, but I didn't finish it.
So with something
Oh, we
like
don't buy into finished code.
Yeah. Oh, did I? Right.
so with something like the line that you had there, it had a curved ends. Does it have to have curved ends?
For now, it's coded as curve.
Mhm.
Technically, you could use a rectangle
Right.
and then use that to draw a line without the curves.
Right.
And I probably in the future I'll make an API so that you don't have to use the rectangle, even though behind the scenes it could be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they call them the terminology is a end cap, isn't it?
Yeah, butt ends.
Yeah.
So here's my little editor. I can create a shape, and yeah, you can see how. And I'll add a bit of thickness. Oh, my mouse is. Yeah, I need to get a new mouse. I set my panning on my middle mouse, but it's getting click issues.
When you were showing this initially, I love how smooth this is and how it just runs quickly.
Yeah. So this is actually an editor. I made it for my game, and then eventually I pulled it out and then put the code open source. So to build this, it was pretty fast, except it was pretty outdated. But yeah, the code itself was mostly working. Oh, that's fun. Oh, true. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's not.
There was a game that came out when I was very young called Thrust. I don't know if anyone remembers it. You're a ship and you had to go down into some tunnels, shoot a reactor, and then leg it with like a power core or something off the ship, off the planet. It was all vector art. I could see you doing that entire game with just this library.
Right.
You
Yeah.
didn't need anything else.
So this was the shape library started in like 2021, I believe. And once I got into the line API, that gave me the idea to try. Can I make a drawing application? Not this one. So I created just from this simple idea, a drawing application that all it does is as you're moving the mouse, it's creating lines from the previous position to the next. What did I? Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, I guess I was working on stuff. But yeah, you can so you can actually draw a line, and this is a lot of little line segments
Right.
on like an infinite space algorithm. Oh, infinite space. I mean, limited by the floating point rounding numbers, but yeah. So the library is generally pretty fast. I probably slowed it down recently with the gradient stuff, but in my old computer, I could do something like 40,000 shapes per frame. Yeah.
Do you still have the gradient line drawing running in that?
I probably have it. You want to see the gradient?
Yeah, it's a showcase everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
follow
Good.
colors. You don't follow, no,
Okay.
let's have a gradient in there.
New gradient. Oh, did I? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just changed the API, but now it works anyways. So the gradient.
Oh, changing the API before a live demo. That's brave.
Yeah.
That is very brave.
It's like because when you're like incorporating a library or like doing a talk, then you're faced with the real world, and then that gives you new ideas. So the color. Do I keep it this? Do we have a second color in MonoGame? I guess white. The color for the gradient is in the same space as the shapes. So if your shape moves, the gradient will stay in place. So you would move like to keep the shape and the gradient moving together, you would move both values together. Anyways, so this 300 by 200. Oh, and then I can do shape. I have a bunch of ways to do gradients. Let's use a conical asim. I'm surprised at how much I like this one. I'm doing a fill line. Did I have too many? Oh, I should have binded this to the mouse. Oh, yeah, you see that? That's kind of really cool. So it's a conical gradient that's asymmetric. So you could use this for like a lot of stuff. For example, if you put the gradient slightly outside the shape, yeah, let's just put that on the mouse. It's gonna be easier. Oh, true, because I have this. Okay, no, never mind. So how do we do this again? Mouse state. I forgot. Get state. Position. And then let's do the same for the second color. So that's the joy of working with MonoGame. There's not really anything that gets in your way when you're coding. We'll move it by 100 here, 0 here. So this will create a gradient that's always on my mouse. And the second color that's used for the interpolation will be always to the right of the mouse. So you see how the shape doesn't move, but you can move the gradient. So sometimes you can like move this, for example, here and get some nice color. It's not exactly a filled color, like or like even a bit lower. So there's a lot of exploration for artists that can.
And like if you set like the white color to transparent, I guess it would look like it's appearing and disappearing.
Yeah, color. Which one is this? This goes to transparent black, yeah. But it should be fine.
Yeah,
it will look a bit darker.
There's alpha blend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so this is this almost looks like a pill button. So yeah, depending on where you take the gradient, you can have a lot of freedom. No need for sprites. So that's pretty much the API. And yeah,
It's what I love about the programmatic nature of this. It removes the need for getting art and assets themselves, and you can actually generate it at runtime or change things procedurally about how they want to do. Where traditionally you'd have to have some kind of blending effect or have a shader that can go and do something, but this allows you to just programmatically just throw it on the screen.
Exactly.
From a performance standpoint, I mean, how is the performance hold out?
It's pretty good. I didn't re-benchmark in my latest version, but oh yeah, I guess I can try a little. This little map editor thing is I'm able to press this and then generate a lot of shapes. So you see how it can 60 FPS, and I think it dropped some because I accidentally clicked outside the window. But yeah, you see how I can just generate shapes and it's pretty fast.
So do you want to talk a little bit about the internals, how this works?
Yeah, it's a custom batcher.
So like my first question was like, so when you say like draw circle, is it actually, what does it emit? Is it emitting like a quad?
Yeah, oh yeah, a good question actually. I wanted to talk about that. So it's doing a quad that is tightly it's making a quad that's as small as it can to hold the shape.
Right, so it's tightly bound to the shape.
Yeah.
Right.
In the past I had these, but I forgot how to use those. It could it made the background color filled like pure red, and then it was really obvious.
Right. I guess if you switch to wireframe drawing, it should be, well, no, because you'll see transparency at the edges. So
yeah, let's see if I could like hack it right now. See color. This one I believe C4. This is like older code. I don't think I touched this in maybe 4 years.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, so the color is this, and you want to mix it with C3, which is not a result. This gives me a pure red. Let's try that. Oh, I should have made it blue, maybe.
Yeah, so there we can see the quad.
Yeah, my UI is actually using the shape library, so it's gonna affect everything.
Right.
But you see how like the shape is. There's like man, it's so there's a bit of padding for the anti-aliasing since it's a sort of blurriness. But yeah, for every shape, it's a quad that's as tight as it can.
Right. So basically, instead of like, there's two approaches to a shape library like this, right? You know, one approach is to generate geometry, right? Which a lot of these shape libraries do.
So that's what I did
generate
in the
triangles and do that. This is taking the opposite approach, which is a fill rate heavy approach or a shader heavy approach, where you're passing in a quad, and mathematically in the shader you're generating the shape.
Yeah.
Which gives you infinite smoothness without having to have a ton of geometry.
Yeah. In some cases, you run into floating point issues. So then you have to like figure out the math to sidestep, or like at least put it into a like push the problem where people won't notice. But yeah, this is just a sprite shader.
Right.
And so yeah, this is before coding this library, I was working on a sprite batch alternative.
Right.
And then eventually I turned it into this tutorial, a first batcher, where you can create your like a simple shader that does nothing. Well, it only outputs the sprite to the screen, and then it also has its own vertex.
Vertex format, right?
Format, yeah. So once you have this very simple stuff, then eventually you can add your own values so that they're sent to your shader. So this one is a bit more complex. It requires a lot of things for like color, and then I put like meta thing. This is
extra data for your shader.
Extra data, like different shapes might need different data.
Right.
So yeah, same thing. And then eventually I ran out of space. I coded I found a function, they call it pairing functions. And then you can put multiple variables together in one and then unpair it on the shader. So that's pretty fun. Because I'm using shader model 3 for OpenGL support.
Right.
And at some point you run into limitations. But I'm surprised I could still shove so much into this shader without, and then it works.
Right. I mean, that's obviously, obviously it's very, very fill rate intensive.
Yeah. But usually it still goes. It has similar performance from my test to the sprite batch.
Right. Have you tried? I mean, like optimization wise, I wonder if it'd be interesting to. I mean, I guess, do you ever try having a different pixel shader for different shapes instead of one Uber shader that handles everything?
Yes. So this is an Uber shader. I think if you have multiple shaders, you'd have to break the batch, right?
Correct.
So for this, I pretty much focused on never breaking the batch, and I didn't really consider other options. And then maybe in the future, I want to do like a big meta batcher that can have both this and also provide the same functions as the sprite batch.
Right.
But I didn't get there yet. But is it a good idea or not? I'm not sure yet.
Right. I mean, obviously with older hardware, having multiple shaders might be efficient, especially if it can be broken up into like very common shapes and uncommon shapes. But with newer hardware, it's possibly arguable that, an Uber shader is a better approach, potentially.
It's because I've been shoving more and more into this, and I didn't get into any issues yet. And for my projects, it's running fast enough. But then as more people use it, then I suspect I'll have to rethink.
Correct.
I forgot my next point, but yeah, this is
it's all right.
Ongoing project.
Cool. What are you thinking of doing next, like with this project?
Long term or maybe mid term is like this meta batcher that can do both shapes. Like the goal is you import this and then it's easy to get a little game jam going, or and then like for my own projects, when I don't need everything, sometimes I'll split the code into and then bring it into, for example, a game jam game, and then remove what I don't need.
Right.
So yeah, this is like a good base to build on. And so like in the like usually when you do that, like split the code off or like fork it off, it gives you new ideas, and then you can bring back what you like about the changes you did.
Have you thought about anything like actually applying textures to any of the geometry, or does that even mathematically make sense?
Well, the gradient stuff is pretty much that,
right?
But like it's a fill, so you could have texture eventually. If I do like my meta batch ideas, I'll be able to push in like textures, and then that would work. Well, I mean, you can already do that if you output a specific color that's used into a different shader after. So you could have a pipeline that uses the shape, and then, or even the other way. Yeah. So you could combine this into a graphics pipeline.
Right.
And then have like different shaders being applied at different times. But yeah, having more, like this is a bit like a little tool that after that you can build on top of.
Right. I mean, the benefit of this is that you get kind of infinite resolution, right? You can zoom in as far as you want or zoom out as far as you want, and you get resolution forever, which might be a good thing in certain UIs and certain for certain games and things like that.
There's like the floating points issue sometimes that pop in, where you'll see lines start to jitter, but in general, like it doesn't happen unless you're zooming in really far. Or
right. I mean, I would assume you have the same problem if you start drawing things very far away from the origin. You start getting some jitter and stuff. But I mean, that's the same thing in anything like that. Any system. The further, if you're working on floating point, 3-qubit floating point, the further you get away from the origin, or the tighter you zoom in, you start losing precision.
Yeah, I'm actually working on something like the drawing application I showed earlier. I'm trying to like fix it at least in that application, and then what I learned probably I can bring back.
Right.
By having, like, for example, different coordinate system that you can swap seamlessly. But I didn't finish. Yeah.
All these parts are like excellent to use for a drawing app of some sort. I think that's an interesting use case of it, and for sure, prototyping 2D games. It's not a bad approach. UIs, HUD elements, things like that. It can be used in a ton of different places.
Yeah. That's what's really cool about just drawing shapes with math.
Right. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Start posting them. We'll jump into questions here in a moment. So this is currently available on GitHub, and also I assume you have NuGets up as well. And this still is like an alpha version, right? It's not even a 1.0 yet.
Yeah, the main thing that I want for the 1.0 is writing docs. So right now the API kind of documents itself. But I want like a better. I actually have this site set up where it already auto generates. Did I? I think it's not good enough, so I didn't put a link, but it's somewhere in here. Yeah, so for now it's just the README, but eventually there will be pages for the docs. And then also I want to make sure to test everything, because I changed the way the anti-aliasing works, and I want to test it really well before I make this. So right now there's this one is like the stable release. Then I'm working on like this alpha that's almost done, but I want to make sure it doesn't break everything.
Right.
Though I already use it.
People are testing it out while it's an alpha, so you're getting quite good downloads there. And apologies if you suddenly get a spike or issues raised from this.
Yeah, especially like the GUM integration was like really amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, because like he's building GUM and then replacing Skia Sharp, I believe. Or maybe just Skia, I'm not sure which one he's using, but then it's exposing differences in the rendering. So in some cases, this is better than Skia, and in some cases, it's worse. But I think now I tackled almost everything, every issue. So yeah, we're getting really close from like 4 point something, not alpha.
Cool. Is there any like third-party projects that are using it that you want to point out?
Well, the main one I think is my drawing application. This one is also on GitHub. And then there's releases are getting pushed to itch.io. So this is interesting, seeing what people do with that. Sometimes I get sent some really big canvases.
Yeah, I can imagine there's going to be some arty projects done with that, because you've seen you got OpenBrush and all of those VR kind of projects, and then you've got a much smaller contained version, which is just web. I take it do you have Mint working with KNI, so it's also web-based as well?
I don't know that one. The how is it called?
KNI, the Ncast web MonoGame.
Oh yeah, KNI. Yeah, I pronounce it differently. Okay, I see. Yeah. Actually, that's kind of funny because the shape library Ncast tried it, and then it didn't work with KNI, and then it exposed a sort of issue in his shader rendering, and I think within like 1 or 2 hours he had a fix. And then
open source.
Yeah, and then now KNI like actually made a push really early recently. Wait, has it already been that long?
I mean,
No.
this is where all libraries projects come together, because everyone commits to each of the projects to make them better,
Right.
especially when they're useful.
Yeah. Shapes. Yeah, if I look here, I think he has a little commit right here. So how did he incur like, that's I guess the power of MonoGame. That's what he did, and it worked.
Just change the shader model. Problem solved. Yeah, the shader model stuff is kind of messy. Hopefully we're hoping to kill that eventually, so that you don't have to mess with that.
Yeah, well, I like it for now because
allowed you to fix this.
Yeah,
it should just work and not require it. Do you have any other questions, Simon?
I suppose the biggest one really is because of like how much of Shapes is tied to the development of your game, or vice versa. So how many features are coming out of your game, and how many things have KNI then making it the way into your game because someone did something interesting?
I didn't understand this.
So you built Shapes because you needed shapes in your game.
Yeah.
So how many features are coming from your game, and how many features are actually coming from Shapes into your game? So both ways.
Now it's like its own thing. So I guess it's a mix. It's like both. As I use it in my game, then I discover things that I don't like. But also, since now everyone's using it, or like many people, then I get feedback, and then that's bringing improvements into my own game. Like even this week when I was coding this editor, it's using like it has undo and redo. And then that gave me a new idea to improve another library that's using this. So like here, if I do this, then I can undo or redo. Or like when I create 10,000 shapes or whatever, I can like move stuff and then undo or redo this. And that gave me like new ideas for my history library. Where it's something that I never thought about, but like, how you can have a state and then have like another state. But then if you do a continuous action, you don't want to have to undo 1,000 continuous action. So you need to be able to like have the first state and then the last state, and you don't need all the in-between states.
Right.
So I'll have to like handle that in my history library.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like you don't run into that problem until you have a giant history. Then you realize, wait a second, this is not very efficient.
Exactly.
And in some way, you're kind of developing a video codec, in a way.
Yeah.
On how it has to work to make that work. But yeah, that's true.
It's like we're experiencing this, currently, Tom, is that as we're building out these samples and we're wholly dogfooding MonoGame, we're finding friction points which have not been come up before, and we're fixing them. So it's a great way to try these things out.
So yeah, that's what I like about like just open source in general. You're like exposed to things like because other people use it or yourself. Actually, like that's what I do for my quality control. It's just like in my engine, when I have like a feature that I feel is useful in other projects, and then the process of splitting that code off makes the quality of the code go higher. And then once it's split off, then you need to bring it back into the original project. So this back and forth is what I feel creates quality.
Right. Yeah. Your project inspires the library. Your library then inspires your project, right? You get ideas like, oh, I can do this. Oh, this would be a cool feature in the game, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Back and forth.
And I guess it's different for people that want to create games only, but when you create like your engine, for me, the game itself has no value unless I can reuse the code. And then, yeah, so this process of creating libraries is how I make code that's reusable.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and tap the bell for YouTube notifications. Comment below to let us know what you'd like to see more of. Support us at monogame.net/donate or get in touch via social media.